Zach. Adrian Wojnarowski is going to drop by with some news a little later in the show. And don't worry, Zach, I'm not going to ask you for the one word on Steph Curry last night.
No, please.
You can do it. I like it.
Sir Snuffleless or something? That's going to be your word?
Shellacking was yesterday. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Shellacking.
Yes.
I actually went Google that last night.
You went
no
what?
vocabulary test, but we do want to start where we started yesterday, gentlemen, and that is with Steph Curry. So 2 days after torching the net, Steph is listed as probable on the Warriors injury report with a hip contusion. And as you can see here, Curry was getting some shots up at Golden State shoot-around in Cleveland earlier today.
You know how hard it is to drag an entire team? He did that to the Nets.
Well,
he's exhausted.
For more, Richard, I do want to bring in reporter and the ace cameraman who took this shot. Hi, Nick Friedel.
Hi, Malika.
Thanks for being here. So aside from running the camera, you also cover the Warriors. And as I mentioned, that you were at shoot-around. So should we expect to see Steph tonight versus the Cavaliers?
Yes. He looks good. He was getting his pregame shoot-around dunk in, Malika. He got a little treatment after on the floor, but as long as he comes in, he warms up, he feels fine, he'll be out there tonight.
Okay, so we will likely see Steph Curry. He's dunking. So after talking about Curry, Steve Kerr also gave an update on Klay Thompson, I understand. So how soon might we see Klay on the court?
Malika, that return is coming. It's coming in the next few weeks. But as Kerr pointed out and told us a couple hours ago here, Klay is feeling really good about the progression that he's making.
I texted with Klay last night. He said he's doing well. Yeah, it's going to be a while. And 2 years being out, it's not just a matter of, okay, now I'm cleared for contact, I'm ready. There's a process of rebuilding endurance, rebuilding strength, rebuilding all the things that are necessary to thrive, not just in one NBA game, but in 4 NBA games a week. So he's got a ways to go, but he's on a good path.
And Malika, the key here is after that, I asked her, well, what does Klay feel about his emotions and how he's coming along up here? And he said he feels great. So while it's still a few weeks away, all signs are pointing to somewhere right before Christmas.
Somewhere right before Christmas. And, Nick, that might mean uh-oh for the rest of the league. Thank you for joining us. So here are the Warriors' next 5 games. Tonight they're in Cleveland, and tomorrow at Detroit for a back-to-back set. And then Sunday they host the Raptors. Next Wednesday they play the Sixers on ESPN. I'll be on the sidelines for that one. And then Friday after Thanksgiving against the Blazers. So back here with the crew, Perk, Richard, Zach, looking at the Warriors' upcoming schedule, knowing Steph is a little hobbled, how would you, Richard, handle him the next couple of days, the next couple of games?
Well, I think very quickly, not that anyone didn't have championship aspirations for this team, but I think you still want to be somewhat conservative because you look at this team and they could play into June. So if he's banged up a little bit, if he's dealing with a little something, you've seen so much depth. It's okay to sit him, but if he says he's fine, I trust him and you keep it pushing.
What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, you trust Steph. I mean, I'm with Richard. At first, when this news broke, I thought, well, I don't care if they're playing the Globetrotters and the 96 Bulls. Rest him for the long haul. But if Steph is 33, he's been up and down this road a lot. If he knows his body, if he says he's good to go, I trust him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's about the marathon and not the sprint. I said that time and time again. But if you put yourself in Steph Curry's shoes right now at this moment, one thing I could tell about the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry, they're playing with great joy. They love playing with one another. Right now, like, you want to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. Like, Klay Thompson is probably sitting on the sideline like, man, I can't wait to get back on the court. Like, it's a joy to be able to go out there and compete with your brothers, and you're having fun and you're spanking people at the same time. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're on the losing side of things, it's kind of like, I'm going to give it a break. I'm going to give it a rest. But when you in this moment, like they are right now, being the best team in the league right now, you want to be a part of that.
Well, and you heard Draymond Green's warning on his podcast the other day saying, don't let us do this, because you're going to hear it from all of us. And we should trust Curry. He has 2 MVPs, but do y'all know who else has 2 MVPs?
Who?
That would be Giannis Antetokounmpo. And he dominated the Lakers last night. Let's take a look. Let's go to 504.
Bag. You needed a morgue.
Richard, why so morbid? Take a look. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks taking on the Lakers.
And look, at the end of the day, Giannis, if there was any doubt that he believes he is the best player in the world. The reason why I really love this performance and he came out and was so impactful against AD is because you know he saw Steph going to battle against KD and James Harden. He was like, you know what? I'm going to go at Anthony Davis.
Well, and Anthony Davis, Giannis
Look at that.
was 6
Look at that face.
Look at that new Giannis face. I don't remember that Giannis face.
Practice the other one in the mirror. I wonder if he's going to practice this one.
Yeah, but the Lakers have been struggling with the third quarter, but they came out. Anthony Davis, he's not going away that easy. Whose little baby is that? Whose Greek baby is that? Tell that was an
but a lot of people would have gave up on the play.
I give it to him. I'm not disrespecting that, but Anthony Davis and the Lakers, they did show up in the third quarter, which has been their Achilles heel all season.
Absolutely. But you know who the Bucks got back? They got back Chris Middleton. He missed 8 games in COVID-19 protocols, Rich.
Yeah, no, but this is when you get your closer back. And I know Giannis is that guy, but Chris Middleton, he does these things. Steps into threes. He creates for everyone. And you see that score right there. And then what it does, it allows Giannis to just go be dominant in the paint. Doesn't have to do it all. Just go dominate in the areas that you can. And you want to talk about unfair? Come on, THT. I know you balling, but they put you in a bad spot. They shouldn't have you out there with those grown men.
Look very Shaq-like.
Giannis looked like a grown man with 47 points. Here's him after the game.
Talk to the coaches, watch a lot of tape. You know, I wanted to be the aggressor out there. As I said, initiate the contact, get in the paint, make the right play. Just play with the edge out there. That's what I got to do tonight.
You know, he's a hell of a player. He hits some big-time shots to kind of keep us honest.
You know, Giannis was special tonight. He had that extra gear tonight. I think he was in attack mode. When he's in attack mode, that's usually when he's at his best.
The big news for the Bucks, Chris Middleton is back. Middleton fires, got it. Back out to Holiday, straightaway 3. Butter.
You know, having them 3 back, I mean, the 3 all-stars, in my opinion. It's the 3-headed monster. It's the 3 guys that make us go.
It was good to have him back. It's good to be back on track. We've missed him.
To have them back, to have Chris back in the fold, it's really nice. And, you know, as George and I said, it's nice to get the bench mob back in the bench.
So Giannis was dominant all around against the Lakers, but Richard, you mentioned the paint. He had 30 points in the paint, which tied, and this kind of surprised me, it tied Ja Morant for the most by any player in a game this season. He also made 10 of 11 uncontested shots and scored 21 points when Anthony Davis was the primary defender. So Giannis with hands down, right? Can we agree the best performance of the season so far? I mean, he just looked utterly dominant. And Perk, I saw you moonlighting on First Take, and you said Giannis was the most dominant player of all time. Why?
Well, don't misquote me, okay? So don't misquote me. I said that right now Giannis is the most dominant player in the NBA. I said on the track that he's going, when it's all said and done, he will be the most dominant player of all time. And I'm doubling down on that. When you look at what Giannis is doing right now, every time he goes up against a matchup like Anthony Davis,
love it.
He's dominating Anthony Davis. Like the fact that we have to come back and talk about him and Anthony Davis battle and how Giannis just had so much separation in between the two. Go back into last year in the finals. We saw what DeAndre Ayton was able to do to Jokic, neutralize him on both ends of the floor, help the Suns sweep the Denver Nuggets. All of a sudden, he gets to playing Giannis Antetokounmpo, and we're like, hey, he shouldn't even be in the game. That's what Giannis make you do. He make you realize that it's separation. And Zach, you could be ready, but this is facts. Look, he's the only guy. That is in the conversation with Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. That conversation is winning Defensive Player of the Year and MVP in the same season. That means he's dominating on both ends of the floor. By the way, you voted for him.
Do you need a towel after that?
Yeah. No. What did I vote for? I voted for him. Yeah, I did. And you criticized me for voting for him.
And I did, and that's okay. I'm all right with that.
So what does most dominant mean? Like, why is the answer just not Michael Jordan? Like, why is it not just the bet or LeBron? So most dominant usually means like physically, right? Yes. So the guys that I think of are Shaq, like prime Shaq. There was just nothing you could do with prime. Now he couldn't bring the ball up. Giannis is like Shaq with a handle, basically. Yeah. And Wilt Chamberlain, none of us are old enough to have seen Wilt Chamberlain play, but like what that guy was doing to his competition, those are the other names that come to mind.
No, me and you are on the same page because what The little bit that I've seen of Will Chamberlain highlights, I've seen like 2 games. There's not much out there that I have seen, but he looked like Giannis playing in the 60s. That's what it looked like. That's how dominant big. And then look, Shaq. I played against Shaq in the 01 finals. I know what big Shaq can do. There was nothing. He was breaking rims. Shaq made you change your roster because you had to carry more bigs if you were planning on competing against them. And he made the NBA change how the rims were made. That's dominant. So it's Wilt Chamberlain and Shaq to me. But yes, Giannis is that version of those two in today's game.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm talking about he's 27 years old. So he has about, not even yet, right? I think he turned 27 in December or something like that. So that means we have 7 more years of watching this man do exactly what he's doing right now. If I had to ask y'all a question right now, in the next 7 years, if you had to pick one guy that could possibly win Defensive Player of the Year and MVP in the same season in multiple seasons, what guy would you say that is?
I don't think there is one. To your point, I don't think there is.
Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid.
No,
if he had a great season,
he's got a chance, but can he stay healthy enough to do it?
No, but I'm saying, you don't think Giannis could do it?
No, I do think
He's saying outside of Giannis.
No, but what I'm saying.
When Perk is going,
but what I'm saying is
I'm
not knocking. Right now, I believe Shaq is the most dominant ever. But when I'm talking about from what Giannis has done to what he could do if he stay healthy, which he probably is because the man got veins popping out his ears.
Well, remember how long he was supposed to be out, between the Eastern Conference Finals and the Finals. It was like, was this knee injury going to be something that for any other person, it would take X amount of time? And all the chatter around Giannis at that point was, but do you understand the way his body works? It regenerates. He's the lizard who grows his own tail back. That's who Giannis is. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, including that weird analogy, Richard, what's your biggest takeaway from the Bucks win?
Look, we've had so much conversation about Anthony Davis being, a top 5 player or a top 5 talent.
Or top 75 ever.
Top 75 ever. I'm going to say this. It is unfair. It is unfair to Anthony Davis to compare him to Giannis. And it is disrespectful to Giannis to compare him to Anthony Davis. They are 2 different individuals with similar body styles, similar skill sets. If anything, I would say that Anthony Davis is more talented than Giannis. He can shoot free throws at an 80% clip. He can knock down 3-pointers in the mid-30s. Giannis can do none of those things. But you know what Giannis does? Giannis has a dog in him. He has a dog in him that we have not seen from very many players on that side. So at this point in time, it is just unfair to compare those 2 players.
Somebody else got some dog in him right now.
I'm watching that game. I'm watching the game, and I'm sitting here like, okay, this is going to be a matchup. Now, I know the best player on the Lakers wasn't there and all this stuff, but the way he went at him in the first quarter,
he took it personal.
The way he just dogged him out in the first quarter, and look, Anthony Davis is one of the great players of all time, but there's a difference between being a second-team All-NBA player and being an MVP, and Giannis only belongs in the top 2 or 3 conversation period.
Well, and Zach, that's what Perk was saying yesterday.
Yeah, Giannis is he's going to finish top 5 MVP for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
He's going to have a LeBron level stretch, and he just keeps getting better. Like we talked last week, I think he's a better passer this year. That lefty scoop finish he had in that game was crazy. And the one highlight, that's the shot right there.
That little hook.
When he starts hitting that more often, and that's what he did in the last 2 rounds of the playoffs. Now, he's not doing great this year, but that's the shot where it's over in the playoffs because switches, all that stuff. And as for the Lakers are 8-8 now, and they have Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis. And I keep saying this, Russell Westbrook was brought here to Los Angeles to win games when LeBron is out. They're just not very good without LeBron. That's scary. They're just not a good team. They're losing all these games.
Now, this is not Lakers fans. Before you guys start getting all of my mentions, I do feel like it is a bit unfair. The Lakers I know the strength of schedule can vary, but the Lakers and the Bucks have the same record. And Giannis has played in every single game, if I'm mistaken, but you're they've missed some guys. Well, the Lakers are missing their best player. And I understand you got Anthony Davis. I understand you got Russell Westbrook. But the Lakers have missed a ton. The Bucks have missed a ton. So we can't just give this Bucks team with an 8-8 record a pass.
Yeah, but the easy schedule. They started off at home. You're supposed to run them off.
The Lakers, yes.
The Lakers are missing their best player.
They have the 7th easiest schedule in the league, so it's the top 3rd from what they've played so far. But they do. We talk about them very differently with a very similar.
The Suns are the hottest team in the league with 9 straight wins. This is largely in part due to their performance in clutch time. That means within 5 points with 5 minutes to go.
Booker has to put it off. Oh, and Booker beats the shot clock with the dagger 3. The Phoenix Suns have won 10 straight games. They have the second best record in the NBA and look like a contender.
So is this when we all say, oh, Richard, you were right? What happened yesterday?
When I'm wrong, Twitter lets me know. So when I'm right, I love it when you guys just tell me when I'm right.
Yeah.
The Suns were good.
No, you were right.
That was right. Listen, the Suns are a clutch time team. You got Devin Booker. You got Chris Paul. When they get into those final 3-4 minutes, they are the best duo in the league. And it's not me, it's the numbers that say that.
Chris Paul is a crunch time machine, has been his entire career. His regular season, his teams constantly outperform expectations. The Suns are awesome. They're just an awesome team. 10 straight wins. They've had a soft schedule, but guess who had the best record against winning teams last season? The Suns. They are just a machine on both ends of the floor. They're a really good team.
Well, and they have that same sort of proven thing that we talk about with Milwaukee. There was no, they got off to a little bit of a slow start, but when we were talking about them, it's sort of like, well, let them find their stride. DeAndre Ayton missed a little bit of time. Let them get into it. They have that perk.
They absolutely do, along with experience. You got to remember, all these young guys went to the finals last year. They went through the ups and downs, the highs and lows, right? So they know what it takes, and they know that they still have to establish their identity. And the great thing about it is that they're not satisfied. They're still tied on the string. If it's one team that right now that I feel like if the finals was the start of the Western Conference Finals that could compete with the Golden State Warriors, it is the Phoenix Suns. They have the athletic wings. They have youth legs. They have everything that you need, a closer. They have a big guy. They have everything that you need to compete.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. You see that
they
stat
do.
line? Look at that stat line.
Well, and speaking of stat lines, let's take a deeper dive into the numbers. I hate to continue to prove Richard right, but here we are. The Suns are shooting nearly 65% from the field in clutch time, which is second in the league. Last night, they outscored the Mavs 17-7 in clutch time, and they're also getting it done on the other side of the ball. Since the streak started, the Suns are one of two teams allowing under 100 points per 100 possessions. Only the Warriors perk have a better defensive efficiency in that span. And before the what about the schedule, homies, pop out of the woodwork. Phoenix has only beaten 4 teams that are currently in the playoff picture during this win streak, but the Suns have had the easiest schedule in the NBA thus far based on opponent win. But hey, you just got to beat the teams in front of you. And they belong where? They belong at the very top of the top. Let's go to the board.
Wait, we're all going?
We're all going.
Oh, it's a team. Okay.
Field trip. Field trip. Team effort. We are going over to do the top of the top. Not the top analyst, not the top walker.
No.
You know what? I like you next to me.
Okay,
I'll be here. Zach, is that okay?
I'll be next to
you. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the top dimes. We start in Atlanta, where Trae Young, I mean, do we need another nutmeg? We need another nutmeg.
Weather is changing.
Come on, ice cold. Come on, wake up, Trey. We need Trey. We need Trey.
You didn't have to do that to Al Horford.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. You always need to do that to someone.
Oh, well then let's go to Oklahoma City. Josh Giddey, getting tricky. Was that a no look?
Does he make you giddy, Malika? He makes me giddy. He makes me
so angry. Somewhere our producer, Greg,
the young man can play.
He can play. Yeah, okay, see, the people there should be giddy.
6 wins for the Thunder. I was dead wrong about the Thunder. I thought they were going to be historically bad.
We have a little bit of a confession
So he makes you giddy.
These are...
Dort!
All right, you know what giddy is putbacks. And let's stay in OKC where your man... Lou Dort.
He's a linebacker playing basketball. Do not mess with Lou Dort. I think 5 straight games with 20 points or more, Lou Dort.
One time he told me when my hands go down, we go down, and I'm not going to let my team down. That is a straight bar. All right, top poster is a good one last night in the Garden, but Franz Wagner, he stole the show.
Wagner!
Crunch time poster, by the way. That's the last minute of the game.
RJ Barrett, look out! Oh, don't. Oh, no.
Don't hurt him. My goodness.
Okay, RJ.
Almost broke his wrist in the court.
Might have a couple upper
You said that.
Bad loss for the Knicks, by the way.
Last but not least, Karl Anthony Towns.
Oh, I've seen you, big fella.
Showing him how it's done.
Quick spin.
Don't worry, Tristan. We heard you after the game, though, Tristan. We got the love for you, T-Top.
Absolutely.
That was good move.
He had to be talking to himself as well.
Yeah, hype yourself up.
This might be poster
It might be
worthy,
the
right?
corn.
Yeah, that's definitely poster worthy.
That's a poster.
Absolutely.
For kids that know what posters are, it's a thing you used to hang in your room. Basketball.
I feel like that's what you post on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, now.
The posters that you post on
NFT.
Action, starting with the Nets, who bounced back with a 10-point win against the Cavs after losing to the Warriors on Tuesday. Perk, impressed?
Yeah, I'm very impressed. And it's amazing when playing LaMarcus Aldridge would do for you, right? 24 points off the bench. You know what I mean? Every time he scores 20 points or more, the Nets are 4-0, Steve Nash.
Repping for the big man. I like
Absolutely.
it. But we know why they didn't go to him against the Warriors. It just wasn't the right matchup, right? So the Hornets snapped the Wizards' 5-game winning streak behind a really balanced effort. Charlotte had 6 players in double figures as they used a 30-14 third quarter to pull away. Zach, what was the missing piece for the Hornets?
The Hornets are one good starting center away from being a really dangerous team. That's no shot at Mason Plumlee. He's a good player, but he's more of a backup center at this point than a starting center. If they had a real starting center, boy, oh boy, this team could be dangerous. They are fun, too. They hang 10-0 runs on you in like 30
their last
seconds.
2 wins are them and the Warriors.
They're going to be fun to watch. Dame Lillard and the Blazers came back from a 15-point halftime deficit to beat the Bulls and improved to 7-1 at home, which is tied for second-best home record in the NBA. Richard, you predicted this win from the Blazers. Why are they so good at home?
Look, Portland has always been a very, very difficult team, and for the Bulls, they have been cruising through the Western Conference, so I'm not surprised that they had a little bit of a lull here.
Larry Nance at center, by the way, is working for Portland.
Yeah, and the T-Wolves, they beat the Kings by 10 behind Anthony Edwards' 26 points, and after the game, Kings center Tristan Thompson wasn't too happy with his team's effort against a team who had lost 8 of its last 9 games.
I'm gonna say this. I think no man in this world should rely on another man to inspire them. Point blank player. You could put that in all capitals. Me personally, no one should ever need a coach to inspire you. If you don't get inspired in a game, then you shouldn't be on the court. Losing teams, losing players, you need to get inspiration from your coach. And I'm not with that. My teammates better not be. My teammates aren't with it. Because I know guys want to win and they want to win badly. So it's not about Coach Walton inspiring you. This is not no freaking glory road. No, you got to be ready to play. Your number's called you in the damn game. I don't need no coach to inspire me. Never that, never have, never will. The day I need a coach to inspire me is the day I'm retired. I'm going to go play with my kids in the park. So I speak for my teammates with that quote. So we don't need no coach to inspire us.
Strong words from Tristan Thompson. Richard.
Well, I'm going to add some more to that. In 15 years, right, the Sacramento Kings, they've had 5 GMs. They've had 10 coaches. They've had the 5th hardest schedule this year. And I'm going to say this panel would probably say they're 25th in talent. My point is this, is that the Sacramento Kings are building towards something. I love their pieces. I love what they drafted in Halliburton. I love what they drafted in Mitchell. I love what the way they're building. But they're still not there yet. They are far away. And at this point in time, I think they've done okay. They've had some tough losses, but I just think when people start picking on a franchise or trying to say, oh, it's the coach, it's like, no, you've been through 10 coaches in 15 years and you've never made the postseason. So maybe it's something else you need to be looking at.
Well, not only that, the best way to get fired as an NBA coach is actually to do pretty well in Sacramento. Then they fire you right away. Mike Malone, gone. Dave Yeager, you were too good. Gone. They haven't made the playoffs since 2006. They're 6-9. Here are their next games. Toronto, Utah, Philadelphia, Portland, Lakers, Memphis, Lakers, Clippers times 2.
They don't have the facilities for that.
This could be ugly.
Yeah, but I mean, look, like Richard said, they are in kind of a rebuilding stage. And I get it. De'Aaron Fox has taken tremendous leaps year after year after year. But Halliburton is only in his second year. The kid that they drafted Davion Mitchell, he's a rookie. So, look, Tristan, at the end of the day, I don't know what you thought was going to happen when you actually got traded there, right? So you knew that you had to be that guy in the locker room to be that leader for this young group.
The one thing I'll say really quickly is he was reacting to the question. The question to him was, is this on the coach to motivate the guys? And that's why I went into the 15 years and the 10 coaches and the 5 GMs. The coaches can't motivate that. That's not on Luke Walton. That's on all the 10 coaches before that, all the 15 years, all the 5 GMs that you've had over there. That's not on them. They have to draft better. They're not getting free agents, so they need to make a move to get in more talented players. But what they've been doing is just not working.
And by the way, the Marvin Bagley situation is a disaster.
Yeah.
It's an organizational disaster.
Yeah. Is it surprising that this organization has had an organizational disaster?
Yeah, but can I say something about that Marvin Bagley situation?
Briefly.
You know, here's the thing that I have to say. when you're in your workplace, you have to keep the others out of it, meaning family members, daddies, mamas, cousins, brothers, or whatever, because that thing sinks in and it hurts you. It hurts you. So as a man, you got to tell people to stay off of social media. You got to tell people not to take shots at your head coach, because this is your job. This is your livelihood. Let parents be parents. Let cousins be cousins, and let you do your job.
Well,
period.
This sounds like something we're going to have to circle back to, because Perk has a lot to say. But let's go from the West to the East, because that's where the Lakers are, and talk a little bit about LeBron, who last night opened the door to making his return from an abdominal strain tomorrow night against Boston on ESPN. LeBron told our Dave McMenamin, "I hope," when asked if he would play against the Celtics after missing the past 8 games. And sources close to James told ESPN that there's a 50-50 chance he's going to be back in the lineup at TD Garden. So the Lakers have only won 4 of 10 games that LeBron has missed this season. They're 4-2 with him in the lineup and are averaging 8 more points per 100 possessions when James is on the court. So now welcoming in senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, take us inside the thought process that could tip the 50-50 scales for LeBron to take the court tomorrow night.
Well, it's simply going to be his recovery, Malika, his mobility, his ability, I think, to play pain-free with that abdominal strain and make that return in Boston, where, listen, this is a big game always on the Lakers' schedule. One trip a year to Boston. And for LeBron James, who so much of his career has played out in that city, in the regular season with Cleveland and Miami, and certainly in the postseason, this is one certainly he wants to play in. And as he told Dave McMenamin last night, that he was hopeful he'll be able to play. But I think this is going to be closer to a game-time decision.
So earlier this morning, Woj, you reported that NBA GMs are moving closer to finalizing an association. What are GMs concerned about that led to this action, Woj?
General managers have been talking about this formally really since March. You know, there's a coaches association, the trainers have an association, but I think that general managers want, to put in place some framework where, their peers can get support when they get into difficult situations, whether it's legal references, PR professionals, even a legal defense fund. And this is something that really all 30 GMs and other members of the front office, have been discussing. They've got an LLC together, and they've told the league they're headed toward that. And that's something you're going to see finalized here in the fairly near future.
And what's something we're certainly going to be keeping an eye on. Thank you so much, Adrian. Now welcoming in the NBA's president of league operations, Byron Spruell. Thank you so much for being here, Byron. On Friday, we're officially 1 month into the NBA season. We just heard, though, one of the biggest storylines that's come out of this first month is on refereeing on non-basketball moves. So what's your assessment of how this new rule has impacted the game?
So far, it's been overwhelmingly positive, I'd say, because it just improves the game from the standpoint of the look, the feel, and the flow. And that's exactly what we intended and hoped to sort of eliminate the non-basketball moves, if you will. And so far, our teams, our players, media, fans have picked up on it very positively.
And the increased physicality of the game is quite evident. Where did the physicality fall into the league's vision when enacting this rule?
Yeah, it's a great point. And it wasn't an intended effect, if you will, but maybe an unintended consequence by making the change. But what's happening, we believe, is that the players are being a bit more free and aggressive on defense, which we wanted defensive balance. And that's potentially going to the basket drives, two-hand checks and things like that. So we want to make sure that our officials are picking those up, because that is illegal contact that should be picked up. But the physicality in game, our fans have shown us through data that they actually like that aspect of it. So we're going to continue our process. It wasn't a directive to make it more physical. We like that as a product, but we still have to get the illegal contact, and our referees are really focused on that.
The biggest dust-up of the season so far was between MVP Nikola Jokic and Markieff Morris on November 8th, and you suspended Jokic for 1 game without pay for forcefully shoving Morris, and Morris was fined $50,000 for committing a flagrant 2 foul on Jokic. So some might say Jokic's punishment was much lighter than what Jokic would have received maybe a decade ago. What do you say to that?
We go through our process. And so we go through a full investigation. We hear from all the players and referees involved, et cetera. And so both players were very helpful in terms of what they provided as information. And ultimately what we want to do there is get to accountability and maybe even a deterrent for further action like that. But we do have the benefit of comparable data over the past decade or so. And so I can tell you, based on our investigation process and ultimately our decision, it's very much in line with what you would see with similar acts. And that's really what we rely upon to make our ultimate decision. And you're not going to please everybody when you do those, but we do feel like it was fair and consistent.
Okay, so the three-point shooting percentages are down across the entire league this season. And recently, players have attributed the uptake in missed shots to the NBA's new game ball that's made by Wilson. Paul George even said it's a different basketball. It doesn't have the same touch or the same softness that the Spalding ball had. What's your response to those who have some suspicion maybe around the new balls affecting the players' shooting?
Yeah, given the rule change and the change with the basketball, it's very hard to pinpoint, what's affecting shooting percentage, scoring, et cetera. And we listen very closely to our players. We went through a process, but we'll continue to go and help shape any additional sort of tweaks we can make to the basketball. And mainly that's around the kind of touch and feel and the break-in process. And what the players are feeling is this, I think it's just a process and some timing of the ball feeling a little bit more broken in, if you will, and more consistent from that standpoint.
So I am curious, Byron, where is the league on the mid-season tournament?
We continue to see that as an exciting new potential tentpole. The format itself is that single elimination, some simple and easy understandable format for our fans to really engage in and understand. And then also a big piece of this is incentives. What will really drive our players, our talented players, to really focus on another cup or championship within the course of a season. So there's a lot of elements in place that we feel could be very beneficial to the league and to our players. And hopefully we can be able to move that, in sometime in the future. Sometime in the future. Is there any closer timeline on when we could see that come to fruition? It's our 75th and, for the 75th anniversary season. And we thought for a while it might be able to break some news there. But ultimately, we got to do all the right things to get it aligned and get everybody on board.
So maybe not in the 75th season, but potentially sometime after that is what you're saying.
Sometime beyond.
Byron, I want to thank you so much for stopping by NBA Today. We really appreciate it.
Malika, again, thanks so much for having me.
But I'm still going to take the over, but this one makes me a little bit nervous.
Porzingis shooting over Booker.
I'm going to take the over. Apparently he's been hitting this. I don't know, but from what I've been getting from my people, they say he's been hitting this every time.
Season high 47 points tonight for Giannis Antetokounmpo on 18 of 23.
Portland versus Chicago. Look, Portland's not, the record isn't great, but they are 6-1 at home. Now they got to go up to Portland against a very good Portland team at home.
The Blazers win. Outstanding effort in the second half by the Blazers.
I'm taking a gamble on you.
I'm back at the
desk. Look at him. Yeah. That's how you.
Get your shoe off my table.
That's how you do it when you go 3 for 3.
Listen, you get 2 points right at the end. Then, the Trailblazers were down in the second half. And,
See, this is why people lose money. Because they get all cocky after 3 wins. They go, let's let it ride the next night.
No.
You don't take a victory lap like this. Come on.
Be humble. Be humble. I am humble. While I'm spending this money, I am humble.
Do you understand, Zach? A 3-teamer pays 6 to 1. What? You understand that?
Can you lend us $5 each?
Listen, all you guys got $5, man. Whatever you want. You want anything? This? Yeah. You want any of this? Well, you know what? I got some more winnings. I got some more winnings. You guys want to hear? You guys want some more winnings? Come on.
I'm paying attention.
Let's go, dog.
Yeah, well, now I want some.
Y'all want some more money? Look, I'm not saying we know everything, but when we know it,
we know it.
We know it. I want to bring in my guy, Tyler Fulgham of the Daily Wager, to get us some winning picks. Tyler, what you got for us, man?
Yeah, I got a couple of plays that I like tonight, and they're home favorites, but they're two of the best teams in the association, guys. Let's start in South Beach. The Heat laying 6.5 against the Washington Wizards. I know the Wizards have been good. They've been a plucky squad, but I'll take the Heat in this matchup. Jimmy Butler back with a triple-double last night. Kyle Lowry will be back after resting last night. Bam Adebayo questionable, but Spencer Dinwiddie out for the Wizards. I don't like that for the Wizards on the second game of a back-to-back in South Beach. Then the Utah Jazz laying 10.5 against the Raptors at home. The Jazz over the last 2 seasons, guys, they're like 37, 15, and 1 at home covering the number. So it's a big one. but no OG Anunoby for the Toronto Raptors. And to me, that seems like a big loss for them. Someone who could guard Mitchell on the perimeter and make life a little more difficult for him. So I like the Jazz to... Yeah, you like that one? If you're backing me, that makes me feel good, RJ, after what you did last night.
Hey, Tyler, listen, I'm telling you straight up, the Jazz for the game, the Jazz for the first half, you know what it is? A deadbolt lock.
Oh, here we go.
It's a deadbolt lock. Look, Tyler, I told him yesterday when he was kind of iffy about Giannis 43.5. I'm like, bro, he's going to get that easily. And he did. Yeah. This is what's going to happen. The Jazz is going to smack the Toronto.
What you got for us, Tyler?
Yeah, he got it with the just points. Now, I want to flip it on you. RJ, I'll start with you, Perk, in a second. Now, we had some fun invoking salt and pepper last week on NBA Today. I think I got to do it again. What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man RJ is, going 3-0.
Yes.
So I asked you, RJ, there is a man who won MVP last year in Nikola Jokic, taking on the Sixers. Would you bet him to get a triple-double in this matchup against Philadelphia at home? It's plus 340, meaning if you bet 100, you get $340 in profit in return if Jokic goes 3 by 2. You in?
I am out, and let me tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. The Philadelphia 76ers have played such trash basketball that I don't know if Jokic is going to be in the game long enough in order for him to get a triple-double. This game might be over the start of the third. It might be over the start of the fourth. So you got to have a little bit going on. He might have 25, 14, and 6. Sorry.